If I made this video a few years ago, I would have said that at least two things in Ohio are a joke: the Cleveland Browns and the amount of Amtrak service the state receives. The Browns have had a couple of good seasons recently, though, so I guess that just leaves Amtrak as the big joke in Ohio. Joke may be a kind word, because the quantity of Amtrak service in Ohio is so bad that rail advocates aren't laughing. As to how bad it is, there are as many unicorns as there are trains connecting Ohio's three largest metro areas: Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. These are not small cities either. The metro areas of these three cities combine for a population of over 6.5 million people. One of these cities, Columbus, doesn't even have an Amtrak station. This needs to be addressed. And I have an idea for a game changing line for the state of Ohio that would address this. The northern terminus would be in Cleveland, of course. It would be where the current Cleveland Amtrak station is. The train tracks then just so happen to pass Cleveland Hopkins International Airport. Because of that, I'd have a stop for the airport. It's not an airport so busy that I'd go out of the way to serve it with Amtrak, especially since Cleveland has a heavy rail train that serves the airport as well. However, it's a busy enough airport that we may as well have a stop there, since the tracks are right by the airport. The next stop would be in Shelby, which is a fair distance from Cleveland. It has a population of close to 9,300 people as of the 2020 census. The following stop would be in Crestline, which has about 4,500 residents. The reason I'd have a Crestline stop is simple. It's pretty close to Mansfield, a city of over 47,000 people. So I'd have a shuttle train between Crestline and Mansfield at this stop. The next stop would be in Bucyrus, which is apparently the bratwurst capital of America. Anyway, since this is a train channel rather than a food channel, I guess I should mention that Bucyrus is home to about 11,600 people. The following stop would be in Marion, which has close to 36,000 people. Fun history fact about Marion: a former US president spent much of his adult life in Marion. Granted, it was one of the worst presidents according to many historians, Warren G. Harding. But still, a president of the United States nevertheless. The next stop would be in Delaware. Not the state, the Ohio city, which is actually a growing city, unlike some of the previous stops on this route. It has a population of over 41,000 people. One note about this stop: it wouldn't be in downtown Delaware, so you need to improve transit infrastructure between the stop I propose and its downtown. The following stop would be in Columbus. Columbus is the second largest metro area in the United States to have no Amtrak service, as it has a metro population of over 2 million people. The last time Columbus had Amtrak service was when Jimmy Carter was president. I'd have a stop in London. It is much smaller than the London in the United Kingdom, for it has about 10,000 people. London is about 25 miles southwest of Columbus. There'd be a stop in Springfield, a city of over 58,000 residents. I seem to have a thing for proposing Amtrak service to cities called Springfield, as a few Amtrak videos ago, I proposed service to Springfield, Missouri. One note I should make: when I skip some places between Springfield and the southern terminus in Cincinnati, it's not because I hate a particular place. It's because we're getting into an area dense enough, with enough population centers, that said place might be better served by commuter rail than by Amtrak. Following Springfield is Dayton, which has over 137,000 residents. Fun fact about Dayton: the Wright brothers, who invented the airplane, have Dayton ties, which explains why so much around the Dayton area is named after them. Wright State University, Wright Patterson Air Force Base, and the Right View neighborhood in Dayton, just to name a few. And after Dayton, there'd be a stop in Middletown, which has about 51,000 residents. The last stop of this route would be in Cincinnati, the third major Ohio city on this route that starts with a C. Before getting to my thoughts with this route, I ask people to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on imagining better rail transit in the United States. Make sure also to hit the bell icon so that you're notified when new videos come out. In any event, I guess the first thought I have is more of a question rather than a thought. The question? Why isn't this a route already? I'm sure there are reasons, and I'm guessing the biggest one has something to do with the lack of government support for rail in Ohio. That said, I'd like to hear in the comment section below as to whether there's any validity to that theory or not. Regardless, it's truly shocking to me that these three cities aren't connected by Amtrak. One of these major cities, plus several other smaller cities, would be sufficient for a route with good ridership. But here, I'm connecting the 34th, 32nd, and 30th largest metro areas in the United States, all in the same route. And let's not forget about Dayton, which is the 76th largest metro area in the United States. Now, to Amtrak's credit, their plan for better rail service in the United States, as outlined in Amtrak Connects Us, does propose service involving these three cities and Dayton. I even think they branded it as 3Cs plus D, or something along those lines, referring to how it would serve these cities starting with the C plus Dayton. So they recognize the need for this service, at least. Where I disagree with Amtrak a bit is in some of the routing. Notably, between Crestline and the Delaware area, my routing is different from Amtrak's. My routing brings more stops, but also potentially better service to more locations. The most notable example of this is the fact that Amtrak's routing doesn't go through Marion, while my routing goes through there and has a stop there. And I could be wrong, but I think Amtrak's route through Delaware leaves you even more on the outskirts of Delaware than mine. Despite my vision differing from Amtrak's, I think that they should be commended for putting together a vision for serving Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and Dayton. It may not be a perfect vision in my opinion, but it's a vision that at least does the most important thing, which is to propose service for these major metro areas. Until some version of Amtrak's route or my route through these cities gets implemented, Amtrak service in Ohio exemplifies why population density is a pathetic and lousy excuse for why America's train system is subpar. Ohio is a state with more people than Sweden, and a much greater population density than Sweden. Yet Sweden's network of train routes with speeds in excess of 200 kilometers an hour, or 124 miles an hour, looks like this. And Ohio's network of trains going that speed looks like this. No, I didn't forget to draw anything. And no, this video is not experiencing technical difficulties right now. I'm showing a blank screen because there is nothing to show, because there is no high-speed rail in the state of Ohio. In fact, there's barely any rail at all in the state. To be clear, this route wouldn't fix all the problems with Ohio's train service. There are only 2 trains per day between Cleveland and Toledo, and this route wouldn't fix that problem. This proposed line wouldn't address how Akron, a city in northeast Ohio with about 190,000 people, also doesn't have Amtrak. And this line wouldn't serve a number of other cities that should have Amtrak but don't, most notably Youngstown and Canton. But you have to start somewhere. And perhaps the place to start is by serving 3 major cities that start with a C. By doing that, maybe we can raise the grade of Amtrak service in Ohio to at least a C, which is better than right now, where an F would be a charitable grade for the extent of Amtrak service in Ohio. But what are the chances of this route becoming reality in the next 50 years? I give it a 5 out of 10. I'd dock a couple of points for the fact that the routing Amtrak proposed for this area is not quite the routing I chose. On the flip side, I give some points for the fact that most of this route is a route that Amtrak proposed in the first place, because that shows that this is a route idea on Amtrak's radar, and therefore a route idea that has a chance of getting funding at some point. On the other hand, though, I'm skeptical as to whether the state of Ohio has interest in funding train transit, or if they're more interested in adding highway lanes. But I sincerely hope I'm wrong. I really don't want to be right on this. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this proposed route, and the chances of this route coming to fruition in the coming decades in the comment section below. Thank you, and have a good day.